German U-boats of World War II. During World War II, Germany unleashed one of the most feared weapons in naval history, the U-boat. From small coastal submarines to massive long-range ocean hunters, these vessels became the backbone of Germany's naval strategy. Over 6 years of war, German U-boats sank more than 14 million tons of Allied shipping, pushing Britain closer to starvation than any other weapon in Hitler's arsenal. Winston Churchill later admitted that the U-boat threat was the only thing that ever truly frightened him during the entire war. When the war began in September 1939, Germany had only 57 U-boats, and just 22 were capable of Atlantic operations. Admiral Karl Dönitz, commander of the U-boat force, had warned that Germany needed at least 300 submarines to defeat Britain by cutting its supply lines. Hitler ignored this advice and went to war early, a decision that would shape the entire Battle of the Atlantic. Germany's first operational submarines were the Type II coastal U-boats. These small boats were designed for shallow waters like the North Sea and Baltic. Crews jokingly called them Einbaum, meaning dugout canoe, because of their tiny size. Type II boats carried only 3 torpedoes and had extremely cramped living conditions. Their combat impact was limited, but they played a vital role as training submarines, preparing thousands of future U-boat crews. Some were even transported overland to operate in the Black Sea against Soviet shipping. Germany's first attempt at a large ocean-going submarine was the Type I, but it proved to be a failure. Only 2 were built, and both suffered from stability problems and slow diving times. These flaws convinced German engineers to focus on a smaller, more maneuverable design, the submarine that would define the war at sea. That submarine was the Type VII. The Type VII became the most important U-boat of World War II and the most produced submarine class in history, with over 700 boats built. These medium-sized submarines struck the perfect balance between range, speed, and firepower. Armed with 5 torpedo tubes, Type VII boats hunted Allied convoys across the Atlantic and became symbols of submarine warfare itself. One of the most famous Type VII boats was U-47, commanded by Gunther Prien. In October 1939, Prien penetrated the heavily defended British naval base at Scapa Flow and sank the battleship HMS Royal Oak, killing over 800 sailors. The attack shocked Britain and proved that nowhere was safe from U-boats. From 1940 to early 1942, U-boats experienced what they called the happy time, Allied. Convoy defenses were weak, radar was limited, and U-boats sank ships faster than they could be replaced. Type VII submarines operated across the Atlantic, the Arctic, the Mediterranean, and even along the American coast during Operation Drumbeat, when U-boats attacked poorly defended U.S. shipping. From 1940 to early 1942, U-boats experienced what they called the happy time, Allied. Convoy defenses were weak, radar was limited, and U-boats sank ships faster than they could be replaced. Type VII submarines operated across the Atlantic, the Arctic, the Mediterranean, and even along the American coast during Operation Drumbeat, when U-boats attacked poorly defended U.S. shipping. However, the tide turned in 1943. The Allies introduced long-range aircraft, improved radar, sonar, and deadly new weapons like the Hedgehog anti-submarine mortar. In May 1943 alone, 43 U-boats were sunk. Losses became unsustainable, and Admiral Dönitz withdrew his submarines from the North Atlantic. Alongside the Type VII, Germany deployed larger Type IX long-range submarines. These boats were designed for distant operations and could reach the American coast, Africa, and even the Indian Ocean. Type IX boats carried more torpedoes and had far greater range, allowing them to operate independently in poorly defended waters. One Type IX boat, U-505, became famous after being captured by the U.S. Navy in 1944, the first enemy warship captured by America since the War of 1812. Today, U-505 is preserved in a museum in Chicago. To support long patrols, Germany introduced supply submarines, known as milk cows. These unarmed boats refueled and resupplied U-boats in the middle of the ocean, dramatically extending patrol durations. But Allied intelligence intercepted German communications, and by mid-1943, the Allies had destroyed the entire milk cow fleet, dealing a fatal blow to long-range U-boat operations. As conventional submarines became increasingly vulnerable, German engineers developed a revolutionary design, the Type 21 electro-boat. Unlike earlier submarines, the Type 21 was designed to operate primarily underwater. It featured massive batteries, a streamlined hull, snorkel technology, and underwater speeds faster than many surface ships. The Type 21 could remain submerged for days, outrun escorts underwater, and reload torpedoes at unprecedented speed. Although over 100 were built, production problems and the late stage of the war meant that only 2 conducted patrols, and none fired torpedoes before Germany surrendered. Despite arriving too late, the Type 21 changed naval history forever. After the war, every major navy copied its design. American, Soviet, and British submarines, and even modern nuclear submarines, all trace their origins to this revolutionary German boat. The human cost of the U-boat war was devastating. Of the 40,000 men who served on U-boats, nearly 30,000 never returned, a casualty rate of 70%, making it the deadliest service of the entire war. Allied losses were equally severe, with tens of thousands of merchant sailors killed in icy Atlantic waters,